thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is to get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children.
Say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on your usefulness.
A few moments later.
By a 52-48 vote, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been confirmed, Jose, as the next Secretary of Health and Human Services for the Trump administration. The sole no vote from the Republican conference was Mitch McConnell, the former Senate Majority Leader, whose no votes now on Pete Hegseth, as well as Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., clearly having little sway or influence over the other colleagues that he once served as Senate Majority Leader, really taking the upper hand on votes like this. But what we have seen him do now on three particular votes is vote no. At the same time, he was unable to get any other Republican senators, from Bill Cassidy to Lisa Murkowski to Susan Collins, to vote no as well. And so Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is not a trained health expert, who is going to be ahead of these 13 health agencies, really in a remarkable fashion, from Democratic presidential candidate to independent presidential candidate to endorser of Donald Trump, somebody who says that he intends to make America healthy again, has been a longtime vaccine skeptic who has sought to use his organizations to remove vaccines from the market, yet also has called attention to issues of obesity and the various ingredients that are American food and drink products. He is somebody who has galvanized a coalition and a following across the country of individuals that may consider themselves liberals, others conservatives, and was able to put together in the Senate a Republican conference that ultimately backed his confirmation. No Democrat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is Mitch McConnell absolutely raging and angry because RFK Jr. got confirmed as health secretary from Donald Trump. He's not very happy. And RFK goes and says something very heartful and heartfelt and great to Trump, thanking him. And yeah, it is. We love to see it. We love to see it. So without further ado, here's the clip.
I want to begin by thanking President Trump for giving me this extraordinary opportunity. 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me he's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump, that I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right. And I'm so grateful to him, and I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, and they get better.
Yes. So, again, I think what RFK Jr. is doing is probably one of the most best things that we have seen so far in our history. I mean, he is really going out and doing his job, the God's work of helping Americans, trying to get people healthier. And I think that is what America needs. That is one of the biggest problems within our country. I mean, the debt and the illegal immigration is big. I think the illegal immigration, honestly, is worse than the health problem, but the health problem is probably one of the number one biggest things in our country. And I think if you tackle the health problems with our country, you end up going after the pharmaceutical companies, which, are most likely hurting us and abusing their power to pay for more stuff, so that hurts the American people and all that stuff. So all that stuff, I may believe, is connected. And if you have somebody that can go in and get rid of that, you're saving a lot of people money. You're making people healthier, and things are just going to be better. So what we have here is from MSNBC, where they're going to be talking about on how Mitch McConnell is just complete melting down, angry over the fact that this is going on, and you love to see it.
Meantime, today, once again, Mitch McConnell is standing alone among Senate Republicans. He just voted no on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination to head HHS, his third time voting down a Trump nominee after opposing Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard. It is.
I still haven't done a video on the of the old fossils that are within our country that are just ruining it, right? And Mitch McConnell is one of these old fossils that should not be here. Same thing with Nancy Pelosi and these other people. They should not be here. They are old fossils that are outdated. They're out of their warranty. They have no more warranty left. And I'm pretty sure health companies probably don't even want to give them health insurance because they're on their way out. And Mitch McConnell is this rhino Republican that should not have any sort of grace or care at all because he is terrible. And this is not a good look on America at all. When you have old, feeble people where they're breaking down, stopping, freezing, looking like they're having a stroke, falling downstairs in a walker or in a wheelchair, having pushed around, it makes the country itself look like it's incompetent. It makes the country look weak. You can't not be having this type of thing to where you have these old people running around and be like, I'm the powerful, and it makes it seem like we're good. It's like, no. When you have people that are walking in walkers or having struggles to get up, this is a issue in our country. Now, obviously, Trump might be an outlier of this, which Trump is perfectly fine, but majority of the time is you have these old, feeble people in our office just doing this insane stuff. What is this? This is not a good look on our country whatsoever.
This is a stark contrast from the powerful Republican leader who once backed Trump, but who the Washington Post now describes as the unlikely and sometimes lonely face of Republican resistance. Brendan Buck is back with me. Mitch McConnell just put out a statement. It reminds folks that he did survive polio. And he wrote this, Brendan: I've watched vaccines save millions of lives from devastating diseases across America and around the world. I will not condone the relitigation of proven cures. Colleagues tell the Post that they
The problem with Mitch McConnell is that he's an idiot, and he's a rhino Republican that is, as I keep on saying, way past his prime. And it is not that RFK Jr. is against vaccines. And it's the same thing to where I had own family members pretty much saying like, oh, you're against vaccine or whatever. It's like, no, I am against on the certain ways that the vaccines are potentially created, or on why our government gave a free rein to where the vaccine companies cannot be sued if something horribly goes wrong or people die. That's when I start thinking, that's a little weird on why our government is giving a pass on these companies that cannot be sued if something awry goes bad. That's kind of a question. Like, if you have these questions, you're questioning, maybe I don't want to take this vaccine because, they're immune to, being hit on something, right? Or all this stuff. That's a good thing to be questioning and all that stuff. And that's the same type of a similar way of thinking that RFK has. But of course, these rhino Republicans and Democrats, they're going to say it differently, right? They're going to say, oh, well, he is against vaccines without actually having the full context of what he means when he's against a certain type or a certain way these vaccines are being created.
respect McConnell, but that his no vote makes them sad. What's the dynamic that's at play here?
Well, look, I will start by saying I have a lot of respect for Mitch McConnell. I was around him a lot when I was in the Speaker's office, and I think he is a very principled person who did a lot for the Republican Party over many years. The obvious difference is he's no longer leader, and there is, I think, something notable. I don't know this, I would be surprised if Mitch McConnell had ever voted against a nominee of his own party until this year. And it was always his job to make sure that his colleagues didn't vote against them. And so I imagine it's fair for a lot of them to look at McConnell and say, hey, you put a lot of pressure on me to take a lot of tough votes over the years. You valued discipline more than just about anything as leader. And why now do you have the freedom to sort of freelance? I think that's very reasonable. Of course, I think probably what is
Ding, 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 ding. Let the bell go very loud and clear. Let the bell go very loud and clear. He is correct in this. It's weird because this is the only time when Donald Trump comes into office, right? And where he is against the actual nominations of all of Trump's people. And this is because he's part of the industrial complex, and he is the type of person that would that benefits from it. So when Donald Trump says, "Oh, I'm going to stop all wars, I'm going to fix the drug problem that's in our country, etc.," he's against it. And he has lost all power, right? I don't think Mitch McConnell has any power left. And the only type of power that he would technically have left now in terms of trying to stop anything is Kash Patel. And if we get Kash Patel in here, it's over. He has no power. He's done, and what's over. I think that Kash Patel is going to get confirmed at this point. I mean, Mitch McConnell is 0-3. He's going to go 0-4, I think, and that's a good thing. It's time for the old guard like Mitch McConnell and the Rhino Republicans to step out of the way and let the new MAGA people come in and fix our country.
consistent here is that Mitch McConnell is of an era of Republican politics when none of these people he's voting against would have ever been nominated in the first place. So he's now put in a position of having to grapple with voting for people who, make crazy claims about vaccines or have very questionable credentials to lead our national security agencies. And we know that.
Yeah, and the point, too, is there's not a single Democrat that is going to vote or nominate RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, or Pete Hegseth. Apologies for butchering his name. But no Democrat's going to vote for these three people or nominate them. So he is the one that is essentially aligned with the Democratic Party. So I don't know what else to tell you, but this man here does not care for Americans, and he doesn't care on what the people want, etc. He wants to push his own agenda and keep his own line, his own pockets, even though this is probably the best for the country.
Mitch McConnell has long cared a lot about national security. And so it's not surprising necessarily that he was against those people, but it does leave you wondering, if you've been a longtime watcher of the Senate, why it's okay for him to be a bit of a freelancer here, where he would have never accepted that from some of his colleagues.
You know, Brendan, there are folks who argue that.
Yeah, so again, this is the reality of the situation, right? This is the reality of the situation. And it really is crazy that you have a Rhino Republican having so much power like this, right? But again, as I said, he is out the door. And as for another thing for RFK Jr., Ozempic for our health crisis in general, RFK Jr. is going to work and crack down on Ozempic, because Ozempic is apparently causing users to get serious eye issues that lead to blindness. So I think we need to get rid of Ozempic. I think it is a cancer to, obviously a cancer to everybody else, and causing blindness. The one way to get through health is to, go outside, go for a jog, maybe lose some weight, go on a diet, and, do it that way. Maybe actually better yourself than taking drugs and trying to hide your symptoms or get rid of your problems. That's just the way I think, but it's a good thing that RFK's been confirmed. It's a great thing. The Rhino Republican Mitch McConnell is angry, and we love to see it. Now, we're going to go over and show Trump really blasting into Mitch McConnell about everything that he's been doing, because he is not a fan of Mitch McConnell whatsoever.
RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. and I was one of the people that led. He wanted to go to the end, and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He'd let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even, and that's saying a lot. But the fact is that he raised money, and he gave a lot of money to senators, and so he had a little loyalty based on the fact that as leader you could raise a lot of money. Senators would call me and they say, he wants to give me 20, 25 million. Can I take it? I'd say, take the money, take the money. But he engendered a certain amount of, I don't even call it loyalty. He, was able to get votes. But I was the one that got him to drop out of the leadership position, so he can't love me. But he's not voting against Bobby. He's voting against me, but that's all right. He endorsed me. Do you know that Mitch endorsed me, right?
Well, he did.
You think that
polio,
was easy? What?
He had polio, obviously, and his.
I don't know. I don't know anything about. He had polio. He had polio.
Are you doubting that he had polio?
I have no idea if he had polio. All I can tell you about him is that he shouldn't have been leader. He knows that. He voted against Bobby. He votes against almost everything now. He's a very bitter guy, and we have a very strong party. And he's almost not even really a very powerful member. I'd say he's not he's lost his power, and it's affected his vote. And it's one of those things. But in the meantime, Bobby did great, got more votes than anybody thought, and I think he's going to do phenomenally, just phenomenally in that position. And everybody else likewise did well. Not only well, they got more votes than anybody thought. Tulsi, look at how she did.
Yeah, so they did exceedingly well. They defied all expectations, and now that we're 3-0, and Mitch McConnell is 0-4, it is a good time to be alive, right? It is a good time. So Mitch McConnell is losing his power. He has no much more power as he thought he was. He's an old feeble man that should just retire, and all is being well. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, guys, share. As always, take care for my friends.
A reminder, we not meant to survive, we meant to live in the moment and make the best of our lives. So when we open our eyes and take a look in the sky, just be thankful and conquer the day. Yeah. This life